So today I'm going to do my best to get rid of this big hunk of plastic on the back of the TW200 here. Now I know there are at least two options that are basically a plug and play bolt-on type product, but neither of the lights that come with those brackets really seem like they're anything that I would want. They seem small, they seem like maybe they're not that bright, and I think you probably have this problem with any aftermarket light, but from what I've seen it kind of seems like they all end up leaking eventually. So today I'm going to try to use this light that I purchased off of Amazon. I'll have the link down in the description. I've hooked this up to a battery already, and it seems like this really does have a pretty decently bright running light and an even brighter, very noticeable brake light. Now, as far as the water tightness on this goes, it does have a bit of rubber grommet around the wires in the back there. It didn't seem like there was any sealant between the lens and the black plastic on the back there, so as you can see, I actually applied some caulk to it already. The L brackets attached to this light are actually just shelving brackets that I got from Menards. I'm gonna try to make these work. I'm not really sure how this is gonna end up going, but we'll just have to see. So the first thing I'm gonna do under here is remove all of the zip ties that hold the wiring in place. I believe I actually am gonna have to pull these signal lights off of here because this big plastic thing is actually attached via those as well as the two bolts up here. There we go. So the process should be the same for the other side. The only thing is looks like this is going to be a little bit harder to get at. I don't know if I can just shove that off that direction. So it turns out there's actually much better access kind of under this flap that goes over the exhaust. I think what I'll end up doing is shoving that sheathing back, and then I should be able to get to the wiring on this side, I think. There's the ends right there already. So with those out of the way, then the only thing holding this mess on is going to be the wiring for the taillight. So I think to get to that, we're going to have to undo these bolts here and here. So when I'm taking this last one out, I want to make sure that I don't just let this massive hunk of plastic drop, because we might pull on our taillight wires. TW's about to get a whole lot more attractive. So it looks like leaving the turn signals on until this point might have actually been kind of helpful, because this could kind of tilt down and then you'd be able to get in at your wires here. Not a big deal the way I did it, but just something to kind of keep in mind if you guys are tackling this. Look at that. Much, much, much better. So I removed the factory taillight from this big hunk of plastic here on the back side of it. Threaded into the two mounting points here were a couple bolts. Around those bolts, between the light and the fixture, were these rubber mounted washers that I've now got stuck between my Menards L brackets and my light here. I've also noticed that my caulk was not completely dry, so that made a bit of a mess, but hopefully we didn't mess with any of the actual sealing parts. Whoops. So in this part of the frame, there's this set of holes here, and this bracket is going to rest right over the top of the last holes that I will be able to use to throw some bolts through. I think that's really going to look pretty good on there. I can kind of adjust how far I want this to stick out. I think I'll probably do kind of somewhere right around there. And then of course the L bracket portion that is hanging down right there, I will just stick in the vise and bend out to kind of give my license plate a little bit of an angle. So I've got my hole marked here that I'm going to use as a mounting point. If you'll notice, these holes are actually kind of offset, so if I were to just use these as is, then my light would in turn be offset a bit. So I'm probably just going to kind of make this hole a little bit bigger on this side, and we'll just call that good. And then I'm just going to use this to widen that out a little bit. Now with my brackets ready to go, all that's left is to bolt everything up, plug the light in, and see how it looks. We'll probably wrap this up. I should probably show you guys. So black is going to be ground, which translates to green on the new light, yellow into yellow, and blue into brown. To make sure these ends stay on, So again, on the back of the light, I'm going to be using these little rubberized washers that I pulled off of the stock tail light, fitting them rubber side towards the light itself. Get these good and messy, because we definitely don't want to have to crank these nuts down like at all. So then with the plate, we'll end up looking something like that. I like that a heck of a lot better. So I'm going to get everything tightened down. I'm going to drill some holes in the plate, find some fasteners to go in there, put my signal lights back on, and this thing will be ready to go. So much better. I really like how this taillight kind of fills out the tail section of the bike. Obviously the TW has kind of a wider rear fender, and it seems like none of the purpose-built kits for this would fill that out. They'd all only be about that big in there. And I didn't really like that. Hit you guys with the brakes here. So that gives a really nice bright flash. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So if you guys are interested in picking this light up, I'll put a link down in the description. You guys can check that out. It's an associate link, so it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps me make more videos like this. So one thing to keep in mind, if you are removing this from your bike, you are removing your side reflectors because they're built into the taillight. You're also removing this little bracket here that should have a reflector on it. I have moved mine onto my license plate actually, and I've got that grafted on with a piece of old car license plate and some VHB tape between the two. This is just bolted on there. I think that actually looks okay. Of course, it doesn't match the color of the tail light, which I'm not a huge fan of, but the laws that say that you're supposed to have a rear one and two side ones are there for a reason. So other than just abiding by the law, it's probably good to have them on there so drivers can see you at night from the side. And of course, if you shut your bike down on the side of the trail, it's good to have a little bit of reflection on the back. I actually did the same thing with the Tenere 700. I absolutely hate the reflectors on the swing arms. I think I'll try to do something else for that. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm more than open to them. I think I'm definitely going to do something else. I'm just not really sure what exactly that's going to be. I might even get some of those like bicycle style ones that go in the spokes there, but we'll see. If you guys want to follow along to see if I have any issues with this, if you want to see some riding out on the beautiful Wisconsin trails on the TW200, then make sure you click the subscribe button over here. Make sure you get out and enjoy this beautiful world though for yourself. But if you can't, here's some more videos over here to check out in the meantime.